Okay, thanks very much. You're welcome, Minister. Secretary, are we ready to start?
Yes, Chairperson. Good morning, Chair. Good morning to Minister, and good morning to all the members and everybody in the platform. Yes, Chairperson, we have 6 members in the platform. We can start the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, let's flight the agenda. Maybe even before I go to the agenda, let me welcome, we have a new member deployed by the Democratic Alliance, Honorable Masebo. Honorable Masebo, you are welcome.
Good morning, Chair, and thank you very much for the welcome.
Can we see your face so that we don't pass you as we meet in Pick and Pay?
That is my face, Chair. Thank you very much.
Where is it? Oh,
And my video is on.
oh, Ausmatlodi. Okay.
In Nantat.
No, you are welcome.
We
We really welcome you to the portfolio committee.
Thank you.
You will really enjoy your participation in this portfolio committee. Thanks very much. It's unfortunate that we're meeting you for the first time on a virtual platform. We had a physical meeting last week and a week before last, but we hope in the near future we'll be able to meet you physically.
I'm looking forward to that, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Secretary, let's slide the agenda. There's the agenda, honorable members. Can I get a mover for the adoption of the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda, Chair. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning, Honorable Abada. Thanks very much. Honorable Detabe.
Chair, good morning to you, Minister, DG, all members. I support staff. I second Honorable Abada. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I don't see an alternative view. I don't see a hand for an alternative view. Thanks very much. That will be the agenda that guides us through the proceedings of the meeting. Secretary, apologies.
Good morning again, Chairperson. Good morning to members, Minister, DG, and everybody in the platform again. Chairperson, the apology that I received is from the DM. She said she will join the meeting and request for early departure as she's going to attend the cabinet meeting. And Mr. Poole, as an alternate committee member, he is now in the Employment and Labor Committee. Thanks, Chair. Those are the 2 that I've got. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Unless there is a problem, can we accept the apologies? In the main is one apology from the Deputy Minister. I don't see any problem with that. Thanks very much. We move to item 4, opening remarks.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my hand was up. I was struggling to raise it. I think it might have not recognized.
Okay. Sorry, Honorable Minister.
Maybe I'm the one who must apologize, Chair. I thought my office had requested the early departure, though I will be leaving a capable team led by the DG. I am in the outskirts of Lufering. Honorable members will recall that this was one of our stalled projects and we were able to ignite it. So myself, the mayor and the MEC are doing our first on-site visit to check if the contractor is truly aligned to the targets that we had set. We are overseeing about 120 houses today in terms of their assessment. And that's the reason why for my early departure request, Chair, I did not even join the portfolio. So, I mean, the cluster DM will be leading it, the cluster DG will be leading here, and I am with Gauteng.
Okay.
My sincere apologies, Chair.
Thanks very much, Honorable Minister. You'll indicate when you are ready to leave after you shall have done you shall have performed your traditions. Honorable members, Deputy Minister, Minister and Deputy Minister, Director General, and all members of staff accompanying the Director General, our support staff and support staff from the department and the ministry. Today we're going to receive a briefing with regard to the timelines affecting the PI Act, and we'll also receive a briefing with regard to accreditation, municipal accreditation framework. Having said that, the Prevention of Illegal Eviction from and Unlawful Occupation of Land Amendment Bill 2026 comes before us at a critical moment for South Africa's human settlement sector. It addresses a difficult constitutional balance, protecting vulnerable households from arbitrary eviction, safeguarding property rights, preventing unlawful land occupation, and advancing access to adequate housing. The proposed amendments are significant. They strengthen the framework governing unlawful occupation, land invasions, alternative accommodation, court processes, and enforcement of court orders, while keeping constitutional safeguards for vulnerable individuals and households firmly in place. However, honorable members, this bill should not be considered in isolation. It must be considered alongside the municipal accreditation framework. Although separate instruments are fundamentally linked, the PI Act Amendment Bill provides the legal framework, while the municipal accreditation framework provides the institutional capacity to implement it. Together, they determine whether government's human settlement objectives can be achieved effectively, fairly, and sustainably. This link between the two is especially important because municipalities may be required to respond to unlawful occupation, participate in court proceedings, provide or coordinate alternative accommodation, and assist with the implementation of court orders. This raises a central question, which is, do municipalities have the capacity to fulfill these responsibilities effectively, lawfully, and in a way that protects the rights and dignity of affected communities? No municipality can exercise expanded responsibilities effectively without adequate financial resources, technical expertise, administrative systems, and governance capacity. This is why accreditation matters. Accreditation should not be treated as an administrative label or compliance exercise. It should confirm that the municipality is equipped and prepared to carry out the responsibilities assigned to it. That preparedness must include functioning human settlement units, reliable housing, and beneficiary databases, sound financial and supply chain systems, effective planning mechanisms, and the ability to identify and manage unlawful occupation. It must also include capacity to coordinate alternative accommodation where required, participate effectively in court processes, and implement lawful court orders. Honorable members, the principle before us is simple. Legislative authority must be matched by institutional capacity. We must avoid assigning responsibilities that municipalities cannot perform in practice. Strong legislation alone does not guarantee implementation. A municipality may be legally empowered to respond to unlawful occupations or provide alternative accommodation, yet still lack the land, resources, personnel, or planning capacity to do so. The municipal accreditation framework should therefore safeguard against transferring responsibilities without the necessary capacity, resources, and support. Municipalities should assume additional functions only where their accreditation status demonstrates readiness to perform them effectively and accountably. The issue before us is not only eviction, it is also prevention. Capable municipalities should be able to anticipate housing demand, identify suitable land, facilitate service sites, maintain credible housing waiting lists, and integrate human settlements into broader municipal and spatial planning. In this regard, an effective accreditation framework can support prevention, not merely enforcement. By strengthening municipal capacity, it can help reduce the conditions that contribute to unlawful occupations and the growth of informal settlement. At the same time, implementation of the PI Amendment Bill must remain firmly grounded in constitutional principles and human rights. The PI framework is not only about regulating evictions, it is also about protecting people from arbitrary displacement and ensuring that decisions affecting vulnerable households are lawful, fair, and responsive to their circumstances. For that reason, municipal accreditation should never be viewed purely through enforcement lens. A municipality may be able to remove unlawful occupants, but if it cannot assess vulnerability, engage affected communities, identify appropriate alternative accommodation, and comply with judicial requirements, it is not fully prepared to exercise its responsibilities under the amended framework. Capacity, accountability, and constitutional protection must therefore operate together. From an oversight perspective, our committee must examine the PI Amendment Bill and the Municipal Accreditation Framework as complementary processes. We must assess not only whether the bill grants stronger powers, but whether municipalities have the institutional capacity, financial resources, technical expertise, and governance system to exercise those powers responsibly and effectively. Accordingly, the committee should seek clear information from the department on the municipalities that will be responsible for implementing functions arising from the amended PI framework, the accreditation status and readiness of those municipalities, the availability of financial, technical, and human resources, municipal capacity to manage unlawful occupations and proactively, the availability of land and alternative accommodation where required, training and support provided to municipalities, measures to protect vulnerable households, and corrective interventions where municipalities fail to meet accreditation or performance requirements. Honorable members, the central link between the PI Amendment Bill and the Municipal Accreditation Framework is capacity and accountability. The bill strengthens the legal framework. The framework strengthens the institutional framework. Neither can succeed without the other. The effectiveness of this legislation will depend on municipal capacity to implement it. Strong laws without capable institutions may lead to inconsistent enforcement, prolonged litigation, inadequate alternative accommodation, and continued informal settlement growth. Likewise, accreditation without a clear legal framework may leave municipalities uncertain about their powers, responsibilities, and obligations. As a committee exercising parliamentary oversight, we must uphold a fundamental principle, which is there should be no expansion of municipal responsibilities without demonstrated capacity, adequate resources, robust accountability, and full protection of constitutional rights. The High Amendment Bill and the Municipal Accreditation Framework must therefore operate together and providing legal authority and other institutional capability to make that authority meaningful and effective. Ultimately, our objective is clear: to build a human settlement system that protects property rights, safeguards vulnerable communities, promotes municipal accountability, and advances orderly, humane, and sustainable development for all South Africans. Thanks very much. Those were my opening remarks. I'm going to request that we move to the next item, which is the presentation, but I'll allow the Minister to lay the ground. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. Good morning once more. And welcome once more, Chair, to Honorable Member Matlodi Maseko. And thank you for joining the team. Chair, I'm joined from a technical level, a team of the department led by the Director General, DDGs, our legal services from Mr. Masemola, and others. Chair, I think this is a feedback loop, Chair, that the portfolio has created, which we had always appreciated in relation to coming back constantly to give feedback on the assignments that have been given and mandated to the portfolio committee in relation to the PI public participation and an update. And maybe, Chair, let me start by appreciating how honorable members of the portfolio really pushed for PI to get into the table, and the approval of the timetable in relation to discussions, in relation to the plan, in relation to public participation, and subsequently this feedback that is emanating today. We have responded to the task, Chair. We do believe that we were able to live by the, or still are living by the intentions of the portfolio. The presentation would outline the work that has been done, the public participation, the extension that has been granted, the views slightly, which are predominantly in agreement. Of course, there are areas, for example, like communities feeling that we're criminalizing people who possibly assist in like civil society in assisting communities. And we have been able in all the engagements demonstrated how we do assist jointly with civil society and never criminalize. And the important part here is to ensure that we do not allow lawlessness in the country. We are able to even demonstrate in areas which even by name, like in the Northwest, where a community identified land, walked into it in an informal settlement, and they called the place by pay. But we went and built at extension 11 and 12, and we handed over houses, and we removed all the people in a form of relocation from that area, which was not really suitable, but without punishing them, but allocating the so needed houses that they need. The spirit of working jointly with civil society is there. You will recall a march by Abahlali Basemjondolo, but when we went to Kennedy Road, they joined us to hand over houses which were identified from people who were in the informal settlement in the Kennedy Road. This is a demonstration, Chair, that we want to keep and ensure that we get our programs and the plans to align very well in terms of planning from national, provincial, right to municipal level. Municipalities are thrilled with the joint proposal so that they can be able to try and plan appropriately in relation to alternative accommodation, but also the land and the services that they may have to provide in an informal settlement. Of course, there will always be trust deficiencies from communities and members who thought, well, I will then be arrested and be subjected to a 2 million fine. Chair, the emphasis now, I think it's us wrapping up from that process, moving straight into the National Assembly process, which I think the team will articulate properly during the presentation. We will also, Chair, as we have correctly indicated and our agenda indicated, as adopted the process of the accreditation and the request. The plea we have, Chair, which will also be indicated, is we need to couple this, which is our plan as the department, with capacity building at municipalities. Accrediting without any assistance for municipalities will create its own challenges, because at the capacity level for municipalities, it is still difficult to perform some of their key mandatory functions as per the Structures Act, but it is also becoming even more difficult if you load into issues and areas that relate to township planning, formalization of settlements, relocation, beneficiary assessment, and therefore accreditation to build. It's a last layer, which usually or normally should come when you have already smoothened in terms of capacity, in terms of rollout, in terms of municipalities being able to do that. But we still are struggling. But we'll give a full outline in this portfolio meeting to indicate what it is. In relation to the rest, Chair, I think when we have our quarter update in relation to our programs, we will be able to indicate and show the weights that we are lifting and why we are forever, every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, on the road to make sure that we cover on all the work that the committee has so assigned us to do. With that, Chair, and your permission from honorable members, I will request the team as led by the Director General to take us through the presentation as guided by the agenda. And we remain hopeful that we will learn again from the team of the portfolio and recommit ourselves as we always do, not to take the portfolio committee meetings as just but one of the sittings, but sittings which are meant to also improve and enhance whatever we are trying to do on behalf of the communities of South Africa. Thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity and honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thanks very much. Like I said, you'll just shout when you are ready to leave the platform. For the sake of Honorable Maseko, I'm going to request that everyone who is to speak, just show your face. You can switch off after that if you have a problem of network, so that the honorable member can be able to associate the name with the face. It may not be enough for today. You still need to meet us in person so that she can be able to identify us. That will be just a request. DG?
Chairperson, thank you very much, and good morning to yourself and to the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, to the Honorable Minister, and a special welcome to the new member representing the Democratic Alliance. Chairperson, we are presenting today on two items, the first one being on the PI, and we are not in the presentation going into details about the Act itself and the draft bill, as well as the inputs that we have received from communities. We are only outlining, as requested by the Portfolio Committee, that we outline in as far as the processes that are remaining for us to come to Parliament and how long that would take us, and whether we would still be in a position to meet the original scheduled deadlines that were indicative at the time. And just to indicate that we had consulted with the other role players in the value chain, being the presidency that must assist us with the CS report, being the Office of the Chief State Law Advisor, who are supposed to assist us with certification of the bill. And all of that needs to happen before we actually go back to cabinet. But that can only happen after all inputs have been synthesized, consulted upon, and accordingly put within. I think what has put a delaying factor to us was Cabinet's own decision that compelled us to go back to the clusters of government and to consult within those clusters. Now, the cluster meetings take place in two legs. First, the DG's cluster, the technical cluster, then also later on the ministerial political cluster. All those processes we had to follow the cabinet regimented process, which has had a delaying effect and has put us out by about 30 days. And as we will present before you, Chair, you would see the timelines themselves, and you'll also see where we had initially said we will only spend 60 days. We actually spent 90 days having to conclude the process. And I think that's what has actually put us off in terms of timelines. We are still confident, as the Portfolio Committee had directed us, that within the current session, this must have been finalized. We are still hoping to bring the bill within this session before you go on recess, Chair. And I think that that's the mission that we have set ourselves to try play catch up, and also to still meet the obligations that the committee has set in advance for us. With that, I would like to request that Mr. Paul Masamula, with your indulgence, Chairperson, that he take us through the remainder of the timelines. He would also indicate what we have already done by now, and he will also indicate what is entailed in each and every one of those processes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, DG. Mr. Masamola, we're in your hands.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairperson, Minister, DM, and honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. Must I share from my side, or am I having the...
You do have the sharing rights, Mr. Masemola.
Okay, thank you. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
it is.
Thank you. Yes, thanks. I will be presenting on the prevention of illegal eviction from and unlawful occupation of eviction from and unlawful occupation of land and Amendment Bill 2026. The presentation outline.
You can just put it on a slideshow, Mr. Masemola.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. The purpose, the presentation outline, it will be the purpose, the introduction, update on progress, timelines towards tabling in Parliament, and the recommendations. The purpose of this presentation is to request the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlement to note progress made on the prevention of illegal eviction from and unlawful occupation of land Amendment Bill, and to note the timelines towards the tabling in Parliament. The introduction is that the PI Act came into operation 28 years ago, and with the objectives of to make sure that it prohibits unlawful and arbitrary eviction and to lay procedures for the eviction of unlawful occupiers. Since the inception of the Act 28 years ago, there's been various interpretations and implementation challenges that have been identified that necessitated the amendments to the Act. And some of the challenges would include a growing number of unlawful occupation of land, buildings and structures, and the need for the provision of alternative accommodation by the municipality, resulting in financial and also planning disorder. The National Department has also intervened by making sure that there is a draft PI amendment bill, which was guided by the PI policy, which has been consulted extensively around 2024. There is also an impatience from stakeholders, especially municipalities, who are seeking interventions to address their challenges. As I've outlined, that would include financial burden on provision of alternative accommodation, because in some instances, the land that is occupied, it then shifts the finances that the municipality would have intended for. But because of the unlawful occupation, then the municipality is now forced to have to provide abolition facilities, water, and so on, to make sure that the unlawful occupiers live in a humane environment. The private members bill was also introduced, covering few amendments, which we all know that the department would not have supported it because of various reasons, including that there would have been a lack of meaningful engagement and consultation with the broader society. And on the update on the progress, we, as the minister and the DG, would have indicated that since the beginning of this year, we would have registered milestone as also presented to the portfolio committee, that we would indeed try to drive this process and make sure that we reach the timelines as expected by the portfolio committee. We have obtained a SAYA certification from presidency and obtained a preliminary legal opinion from Office of Chief State Law Advisors. Also, the bill was taken and to the Cabinet Committee on SPCHD, which also recommended that it should be going to Cabinet. And ultimately, on the 1st of April, the Cabinet approved that the bill could be published for public comments, and then the minister on the 16th of April did publish, gazetted it for public comments, which closed on the 16th, and therefore it would have been the 60 days, but also there would have been the request for extension from various stakeholders, but also other issues that DT would have indicated that the consultations that we still needed to have, including ministerial clusters. So it was also extended with another 30 days. So it means we would have gone for 90 days for public comment, which closed on the 6th of August. The presentations were made at DG's clusters and ministerial clusters of all the cabinet ministerial clusters, ESA, JCPS, GCIT, and ICTS. They would have, the department would have undertaken public information sessions in all the 9 provinces, and in fact, all the provinces, there's no province that would have done one. There are 2 or more sessions that would have conducted in all the 9 provinces. engaged with various stakeholders, including the Banking Association of South Africa and the banks. The network was also engaged, and there are still other engagements, further engagements that we're involved in because they requested that we must have other follow-up engagements. We also engaged the National House of Traditional and Khoisan leaders, who would have also indicated that in some instances there are some pieces of land that are under the authority of traditional leadership, and they would also look forward to how the bill is likely to assist them in addressing issues of unlawful occupation of those pieces of land. We engaged also with the National Association of Social Housing Organizations, who largely owns the rental stock properties. The timelines towards the tabling in Parliament, we are currently consolidating on the comments and inputs that we received, and also refining the bill, which the work that started on the 11th of August, and we intend that on the 18th of September, we should be able to have completed that work, and we'll then go back to presidency for final certification and final to Oxley for final legal opinion, which ordinarily would take 1 month or rather 30 days. We hope that we would be able to drive it between September and early October, and then we will then go back to Cabinet for approval for the tabling of the bill in Parliament, which will happen in November, and thereafter we will then be able to table the bill in Parliament. We're looking at the last weeks of November, failing which it will be the first week of December, and after the Speaker would have referred it to the portfolio committee, or the portfolio committee on its own discretion. They would then invite us, but would be ready in December to really present the bill to the portfolio committee. We are recommending that the portfolio committee on human settlement to note the progress made on the prevention of illegal eviction from and unlawful occupation of amendment bill, and to note the timelines towards the tabling in Parliament. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Mr. Masamula. I'm not sure whether there's any addition from the DG or the Minister. Are you fine, DG?
I am fine, Chairperson. I don't know the Minister, perhaps she wants to add.
Minister, are you fine? Don't see the Minister on the platform. I think she's gone already. Thanks very much. There is the presentation, honorable members. Can we engage with the presentation? In the main, it was just a briefing for members to be in the loop as to what will happen. The expectation is that the bill will arrive in Parliament around the latest, the first week of December. And then the Parliament, through the Portfolio Committee, will then start engaging with it. And if we keep to that timeline, I think the Portfolio Committee will still be having 2 years to deal with it. I think we can finalize it in the 7th Parliament, because that's the objective. Because if we don't finalize it in the 7th Parliament, we don't know what will happen in the 8th Parliament. It may still go back and so on. It may still lapse. We don't want that to happen. Can I get indications if there are questions or comments? Because the presentation was clear. I don't see a hand. I think members are content. They are happy with the, okay, Honorable Gamede, followed by Honorable Frenchman, followed by Honorable Kahakile, in that order. Honorable Gamede.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to you, Chairperson, the Secretary, the members of the Portfolio Committee, and also greetings to a warm welcome to our new member. You are welcome, member from the Democratic Alliance. And also greetings to the Minister. I can see she has already left, but greetings to the department led by the DG. No, Chairperson, I won't be much when it comes to the PI bill, but PI amendment bill. Let me just go slide 8. Itself is it is a story here, Chairperson. A bill first flagged as urgent led for due to growing unlawful occupation and municipal financial strain will not reach the Portfolio Committee for presentation until December 2026. I agree. Nearly 3 years after the 2023 policy consultation process reference in the department's own framework began. Chairperson, on slide 5, the presentation notes that a private member's bill was rejected for lacking meaningful engagement with broader society. Yet the National Department of Human Settlements' own version has now had its public comment period extended once already. On slide 6, what specific gaps in consultation quality rather than just duration justify continued delay while municipalities report impatience on slide 5? Chairperson, excuse me. I think the committee should request tabling rather than waiting 5 months between this briefing between this briefing and the next schedule and engagement. That's a gap that leaves no parliamentary checkpoint on the consolidation of comments phase running to 18 September. I would like to stop there, Chairperson. I'm not sure whether I would like to believe we are going to get another presentation from this one, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Yes, we're still going to discuss the framework, the accreditation framework. Honorable French.
Okay.
Honorable Frenchman.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings to all present on the platform. Chairperson, I'm asking that I don't switch on my video, please. It's been a very busy week. Chairperson, I just want clarity. I just have a clarity-seeking question. I want to know whether the bill includes evictions of families living in their own homes. I'm going to give an example of, I think it's 5 or 6 families that's being evicted in District 6. And but they've been living there for generations. Is the bill speaking to evicting those people also? And it's not just in District 6, it's all over. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kahakile.
Thank you, Chairperson, and greetings to DG and the delegation from the department, our support staff, honorable members, and a warm welcome to Ausma Tlhodi, honorable member. Chairperson, I'll just go straight now to what my observations and the questions. So the status of implementation protocols, active implementation. Chairperson, it has improved from 40% in 2023 to 71 in 2026. This is a great achievement, and well done, DG and the team, and keep it up. And then the implementation protocols never improved from 26% to 0 in 2026. So we really appreciate that we don't have any province without signed protocols or expired protocols. And then the expired implementation, they reduced from 34% to 26 in 2026. But Chairperson, with this one, I would like to get a clarity as to why is it difficult to have all the municipalities or the provinces having valid protocols. Chairperson, the department needs to work on this one. And what I want to know is what measures are in place that we have all implementation protocols active at all times. And then what support is the department providing to Limpopo to reduce their expired and unsigned implementation protocols? What support is the department also providing to Gauteng and Mpumalanga to prevent the occurrence of expired implementation protocols? And then what was the main reason for Kruger District to withdraw from the implementation? And then for Northwest, you know, Chairperson, I cannot talk without Northwest. Aye, man. What's you go, guy? I'm presenting something else. Chair? Chairperson?
Yes, Honorable Kakilo.
You know what?
I didn't want.
Normally.
I didn't want to disrupt you. I was going to say at the end that it's on something else.
Okay, let me complete and then go to the pie.
Are you ready to continue?
Yes, I'm ready
on the
to continue. Let me finish because for Northwest, I just wanted to know because there's a portion in the presentation where they've indicated that the Northwest has submitted the accreditation business plan, which is not aligned to HSDG. What is the department doing to support and what are the implications of this? Let me go to the pie. The first question is, when will the engagement with NECLEC take place? And the Chairperson, I also acknowledge the work done by the department, and I appreciate that at least we are moving. We now see a light at the end of the tunnel. So I recommend, Chairperson, that all the outstanding activities, the consolidation of comments and input and refinement of the bill, CEIS certification, final legal opinion from OCSLA, cabinet approval of the tabling of the bill in Parliament, and then tabling of the bill in Parliament. All these things, Chairperson, I will just recommend that the department must stick to the timelines given there. Like you have indicated, Chairperson, that we really want to see this bill being approved during our tenure. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abada.
Good morning, Chair. I don't know what's going on. Oh, here we go. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, the Minister, Deputy Minister, DG, DDG, all entities on the platform, and our new member from DA. We welcome you to the committee. Wish you well. My questions for the PI Act. The department admits that unlawful occupation is increasing and that municipalities are struggling to provide alternative accommodation. And you know, Chair, this is our major problem. And I've mentioned this previously when this bill was brought to us. I have a huge problem with this, so it's not sitting very well with me. So before the department brings this bill to Parliament, can you explain how harsher criminal penalties will put a single roof over the head of a poor South African family? Are we dealing with the causes of unlawful occupation, landlessness, housing backlogs, and government delivery failures? Or are we preparing legislation that will simply criminalize the desperation created by government's own failures? My second question is, the department tells the committee that public information sessions were conducted in all 9 provinces and that engagements took place with banks, NEDLAC, traditional leadership, and social housing organizations. What exactly did ordinary affected communities tell you? What provisions are you changing as a direct result of those submissions? And will you provide this committee with a full consultation report showing what communities opposed, what government accepted, and what it rejected and why? Otherwise, how do we know this was meaningful consultation rather than a procedural box-ticking exercise? And my last question, before this bill returns to us, the department must make the distinction absolutely clear. Are you targeting organized syndicates and individuals who exploit desperate people and profit from unlawful occupation? Or are poor families themselves going to face criminal prosecution because they have nowhere else to live? Parliament cannot allow the housing crisis to be transformed into a policing and prison problem simply because government has failed to deliver sufficient land and housing. This is just, stronger on punishing homelessness, and government has been we're putting in legislation that is stronger on punishing homelessness than government has been on solving it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Lastly, Honorable Duterte.
Good morning, Chairperson, to you once more, Minister in absentia, DG, and his team, honorable members. Chairperson, I'll put on my video briefly. I'm on the road, actually. Then I'll switch it off, please, and welcome to the new member, Honorable Maseko. Chairperson, may I also join Honorable Kihakilwe in welcoming the presentation by the department on the framework on accreditation to provide housing in other spheres of government, and indeed to agree that this must be followed through with regards to the expiry of protocols, but in particular I want to focus on the PI Act amendment, the PI Amendment Bill, and thank the department for having prevented this bill from being railroaded, given the fact that there was an attempt to assume a twin track approach or a dual approach on the same bill, on the basis of it being pursued on the one hand, on the basis of it being pursued by a private member or a member of the House and the department. And I think you with your stewardship, Chairperson, you helped to save the situation. I want to just say, Chairperson, that while indeed our focus is on the PI Amendment Bill, it becomes quite clear that the number that the Minister shared with us a while ago of something in excess of 4,200, and that being the number of informal settlements, is inextricably entwined with this amendment bill that we are faced with, which then brings me to the question of the availability of resources. We know that in economics, we deal with scarcity all the time, but we also deal with opportunity cost. Now, opportunity cost would indeed take into account the fact that we have the following resources available and that we cannot do everything for everyone within a certain particular period of time. But there is also a reprioritization which links to opportunity cost. So I'd like to say that while indeed we assist with this particular amendment bill, the department must think carefully through the whole issue of the challenge that we are facing of the huge number of informal settlements, but to also strategically look at ways, innovative ways in which other spheres of government can be engaged so that we end a proliferation of informal settlements. And I think our visit to Brazil brought us face to face with very innovative methods. Of course, a completely different approach there, but ours, of course, is quite a good blend, and where those lessons can be learned, valuable lessons from the way Brazil is dealing with the issue of informal settlements. By all means, let us do that. I know we are very strong when it comes to water and sanitation, and I know that there are people who are suggesting that the current Water Services Amendment Bill seeks to entrench privatization of key basic services that are found in Section 27. And I want to say that read with Section 26 on housing or human settlements broadly, let us use this bill not simply to pass an amendment to the existing or principal legislation, but to say, in line with the National Development Plan, in line with SDG 11, what is it, armed with resources, we intend to do, by when and how much will we spend in reducing drastically the number of informal settlements. And I want to say, Chairperson, in conclusion, that I welcome the engagement by the department with the community of K10 Phase 2, and to indeed still appeal to the department to go back, meet the province, reprioritize, because that's one example of a community that is in a so-called informal settlement. One good thing about it is that a water service provider, in this instance, Val Central Water, has become somewhat innovative because so far it has installed, although it is not its key or primary mandate, it has installed 4, there may be more, communal taps for the community that in the informal settlement, and there are other services that attempts that are being made to bring other services, health services, etc. Now, I am saying that please, the department must, as far as possible, avoid going as far as the 2028-2029 financial year with regards to the upgrade of this informal settlement, because of importance and what is urgent at the moment is the commissioning of a geotech study so that it can be established whether a portion of that particular community can be settled in situ on the existing piece of land. The municipality has indeed confirmed that it has another piece of land. And I'm raising this, Chairperson, because this challenge of scarcity of resources emerged from that meeting with the community there. And I want to indeed urge the department, with the presence of the DG, and I think I've seen DDG Dumalisile as well. I think, please, if they kindly could go back to the province and let it not be optional whether the province wants to prioritize that particular informal settlement or not. Chairperson, for the simple reason that the herds of our arms of state, the president, the executive, the judiciary, the legislature, as far as we understand, they are on the same footing, all three performing different roles, heading different arms of the state. So in other words, if the speaker says, this matter is now on my table, a particular community has petitioned my office, Committee XYZ, look at this. And I think that is the spirit in which this must be looked at. But long-term, Chairperson, we welcome this. And indeed, as we are in agreement with you, during our term, let's ensure that as far as possible that we can dispense with this particular bill and ensure that indeed we provide certainty and that we can truly respond effectively, proactively to the needs of our people as per the provisions of the law and the Constitution. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, honorable members. DG and your team.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I think at the outset, we need to indicate that the bill itself, and I had thought that today we were discussing the timelines, but I see that members have raised issues related to the merits of the bill, which I thought that when we do come to table it before Parliament, the concerns of the committee and what could be ventilated, and we could explain where we are coming from. And also when we have made a summary of the inputs that we have received from the public. But nevertheless, I think it's opportune for us as a department to restate and re-emphasize what we had said early on, even in the background memorandum to the bill that we had also shared and tabled in Parliament. We had explained the objectives and what we want to see as outcomes. Indeed, we are clear, very clear, that the original tenets of the Act that we are trying to amend should not be lost. That is the protection of vulnerable communities from being homeless. And therefore those tenets remain embedded in the law. What we are dealing with is the unintended consequences that we had seen of these good tenets, and we are beginning to clarify further. I guess there is a greater focus on the toughening of, should I call it, sanctions for those that violate the bill. Currently, municipalities could only be bystanders and just watch as land belonging to other people could be invaded, and they had no legal standing to stop the invasion. But yet, after that private land has been invaded, the municipalities are now the ones who are expected to provide temporary services and other related services related to that, which would now be considered an informal settlement. So we had set ourselves to ensure that we arm the municipalities to have a greater say and to also be able on their own accord to step into the fray and stop the mushrooming of that informal settlement. I need to retrace our footsteps and remind the committee that at some stage the committee decried why we were not stopping new informal settlements as they mushroomed. And I am sure, Chairperson, since the committee raised that matter, and now, when you compare the growth of informal settlement year on year in numbers, you would see that really the number has largely stabilized. So meaning that there's no more a flurry of informal settlements that are mushrooming willy-nilly all over the place. And that where even we have had to tweak the standing rules that we have, and we have had to be flexible and allow for settlement of people, we had done so in such an orderly manner that we knew that the land was already surveyed, that people will be allocated stands, and that we told them that the rest of the services will follow, but we will never move you again. And this has been somewhat a much welcome relief to most of the families that had absolutely nowhere to go to. So consequently, the state has not abandoned and does not intend, even with these amendments, to abandon its responsibility to the poor and the vulnerable. But the state wishes to sanction those that are shack farmers and that those that are, rent lots that create a lot of informal settlements create a lot of shacks only to rent out those shacks, likely to foreign nationals and sometimes undocumented foreign nationals. So we move from that premise that anybody, before you had to have received money, you must have received a gratification in terms of money for us the law to get you into the loop of sanction. But now we are we're expanding actually, not removing, we're expanding on that any gratification, even if it is political gratification, because we have learned from the lessons of implementation of the bill or of the act itself, that indeed there have been, even sometimes it appears political parties have fueled the settlement of people informally so on privately owned land and even on state-owned land. And sometimes even on land that was earmarked for development, which would have delivered houses for the people. Honorable Abada does ask a poignant question that says, how do you link the two? Greater sanctions vis-a-vis provision of housing. There's a direct link and correlation. When land is earmarked for development and the contractor has been appointed and the site has been established for purposes of building houses, and landlords then exploit the situation and encourage people to settle illegally, not only does it delay the development of the houses, which the very poor would have received those houses, it now has frustrated the process of development, and which means that the poor then end up in those shacks for a longer period than they were supposed to have houses being built. So there is a direct correlation and a direct line. And we see it, and we know the importance of protecting land for development purposes, particularly land even for housing purposes, so that that line of sight is not lost. So we are not abandoning chair at all the tenets of why the law in its first instance was put in place. It was to ensure that it protects the vulnerable, but the law never anticipated that there would be those that are unscrupulous and that would actually encourage the vulnerable and encourage poor people to settle where they are not supposed to settle, whereas they were supposed to have been settled in an orderly manner. And with that, I wish to then indicate, Chair, that in as far as the processes are concerned, as you can see, even now we have still congested these processes. We are moving very, very fast, and we are grateful to the pressure of the Portfolio Committee under your stewardship for us to move expeditiously with this. But also we are eternally grateful to both the President as well as the Deputy President in his capacity as leader of government business for having allowed us to have this bill tagged as a priority bill within the cabinet system, and for them allowing us to run processes concurrent, because it has never been done that when we are busy consulting with clusters of cabinet, we are also talking to the public at the same time. But they have allowed us for such a congested timetable so that we could meet the expectations of the committee. And I think we are now where we have received a lot of inputs right across the country from different sector bodies to even political parties, and we are clear where we are standing, that the timeline we have allocated to ourselves for sifting through that, it's a Herculean task, but we are committed to going through them and ensuring that we take into account all inputs that have been made. And we synthesize all of that and in a separate report, because we know that Cabinet will be most interested in knowing what have been the inputs of the public. In the same manner, the committee, when we do come and place the bill, will also want to know the same thing. And I must also indicate that it is not the end of the road once we table. It then becomes a parliamentary process, and the Portfolio Committee then has its own process. As the bill is tagged Section 76, you would still need to consult SALGA, you'll still need to consult provinces, you would still need to have public hearings and all of that process. We leave it in the capable hands of the committee, but we are clear where we are standing about the process, that we've congested it as we are requested, and in line with what is really the agenda item today. we have come back to give that report back, as Minister has said, to keep the committee into the loop about where we are. And we will certainly entertain and deal with all of the merits at the appropriate forum when we do table the bill before you, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DG. I think we take note of the presentation with regards to the timelines. And I want to agree with one member who says, oh, I see the hand of Honorable Frenchman. Maybe you did not answer her question as to whether you can remove people who have been staying in a house for quite some time. Honorable Frenchman?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it was just my question, the clarity-seeking question of whether the bill also speaks to evicting those people, the families that's been living in their own homes and not illegally occupying, informal settlements and those things. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, DG.
Okay, Chair, I had attempted to avoid answering each question one by one, but I think let me just indicate to Honorable Frenchman that a person who's not an illegal occupier, if there is an attempt to evict them, there are remedies at law to protect those people. Our intent is not to evict anyone who is not an illegal occupier. Our attempt, and indeed, if a person is an illegal occupier, and the operating word being illegal, is that no government and even parliament there's no state can entertain and tolerate illegality. And I think that's what we're trying to do there for illegal occupiers. But for people who are not an illegal occupier, there is no basis. And I'm also saying that what we are laying down in terms of what is already in the tenets of the existing Act already provides for evictions. But those evictions, there is a process and procedure which must be followed. And the current system prescribes that be done. You need to secure a court order to do that, so that the other party to be evicted have their say in court and they can defend themselves and they can state the grounds on which they are illegally occupying. And where the court finds that they are not illegally occupying, they cannot be evicted at all. And where the court finds that they are illegally occupying, there has been instances where the court has directed the state to then step in and provide. And we know even the Constitutional Court position in the case here in Cape Town, wherein the court directed the city to provide alternative accommodation. And I am saying that even where evictions do happen from land that is occupied, either by the illegally occupied, whether be it state land or private land, the courts have now said that those people must be provided with alternative accommodation. And we have seen that, we have noted that. This matter was even brought before the Portfolio Committee. It was discussed in the Portfolio Committee, and we also expressed why the emergency fund cannot work for that purpose, where people are evicted, particularly where the city itself evicts people. Or government itself evicts people. So I'm just saying that there are safeguards in the system to make sure that only the rogue people are actually dealt with in terms of the law. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks very much. Maybe, Honorable Frenchman, you may need to give more details, not necessarily in this meeting. You may need to give more details, send the query to the chairperson's office, so that if there's a need to interact with the department, having more details, will be able to do that. But the clarity is that nobody can be evicted if it's not an illegal occupant. But even where he or she is an illegal occupant, there must be provision for an alternative accommodation.
I will do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we're done with this item. Safe to say, we'll be happy, DG, like members said, if you can stick to your new timelines, so that at least by December, before we go for recess, Parliament should have received the bill. And we know that when we come back the following year, 2027, we hit the ground running. Thanks very much for that presentation. Let's get into the next presentation, accreditation framework. DG?
Chairperson, thank you very much. And we've had your directive on the last presentation. We will do likewise. And just on the accreditation framework, we have revised this framework, Chairperson. You would recall that at the beginning of the term of this committee, we were invited to present on this. We had done so. And the committee had made its comments and also had raised some of its concerns at that time. We had since revised the accreditation framework to cover some of the loopholes that we ourselves have identified, that provinces and municipalities in consultation with them had also identified, and that the committee too had raised and we had identified. One of the biggest challenges was the notion of once accredited, always accredited, which in today's opening remarks of the chairperson, he has gone to detail really in outlining why such a stance is quite problematic, and that there's given circumstances of any municipality changes from time to time. That means capacity, resources, and all related aspects that are a necessity and a fundamental basis for successful implementation and delivery vary from time to time, and therefore the framework needed to have a mechanism of regular reviews and of ensuring that we are able to ensure that those that are accredited are able to do what has been set for them to implement. Chair, I also need to indicate that having done so, the accreditation framework takes into account most of the aspects you had raised in this regard. And I would, without much ado, request, Chair, with your indulgence, that we allow Mr. Mielani Mkabela, who is our subject matter expert. He's the director for accreditation within our ASH branch under DDG Dumalisile. And that with your permission, I hand over to Mielani to take us through the tenets of that and also to respond to a direct question of which municipalities are actually accredited and to what level and what does that mean in real terms. What are they accredited to do? And maybe invite him as well, Chair, to expand a little bit on the presentation by just giving talking points about how we regularly review the municipalities and how we ensure that those that are accredited remains accredited. And I will also, because Honorable Kehakilo has already laid her colors to the mast on the accreditation matter by the series of questions she has asked, that he also speaks a little bit about how we capacitate provinces. I know that this is a section under DDG Ngongo that deals with capacity assembly, wherein we are providing support to municipalities. But I know that Mielani too has been convening national workshops on accreditation with municipalities to capacitate them. So just he speaks also a little bit to those two aspects, although they are not in the presentation. Thank you very much. I request that we hand over to Mielani.
Thank you, DG. Mielani?
Thank you very much, Chairperson, to the Minister in absentia, Deputy Minister, to the members of the Portfolio Committee, as well as the DG. May I request that perhaps I was trying to share and I can't seem to locate my presentation. Maybe the presentation by Mr. Masemula must move first, or somebody can share it on my behalf, because I've been struggling to share for quite a while. I wonder if the presentation by Mr. Masemula has been removed because it was blocking my way.
I think Kosi is trying to assist.
Okay, thank you very much. But Chair, thank you very much. I'll be presenting on the accreditation, the implementation or progress made on the implementation of the accreditation program. I'll also touch on the guidance that the DG has already given me to expand a little bit on how do we get to a point where we accredit the municipality, although it was not part of these slides. But I'll also delve into what some of the capacity initiatives that which we put in place as a national department. But that will come out clearly when we deal with progress for each province, because then it also, each slide there also tells you what is it that we have done, which begins to tell you the amount of work or the kind of strategic initiative or capacity interventions that we put in place. Can you move to my presentation outline, Chair? Or should I move the slides? Okay. Can you move to the next slide, please?
Can you move to the next slide and put it on a slideshow, Kosi?
Chair, my presentation outline is very long. However, I'll try and move very fast. The slides or number 1 to number 8 talks to the salient features of the program, which we build into the presentation just for a recap and also to lay a foundation so that once we get into the level of sharing the progress per province, members of the committee will have a better understanding given the clear background that which would have given. So I will not spend much time on this presentation, besides one that then talks to the key developments within the program implementation itself. I'm not seeing the presentation. I'm wondering if you are able to see it on your side.
No, it's gone. Secretary Kosi.
Let me try and get it, Chair.
Okay, let me try and share it in the meantime if Paul Masimola's one has been removed.
Kosi is trying.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair.
Slideshow?
My apologies for that.
Let's put it on slideshow, Kosi.
But perhaps while Kosi is trying to move, let me explain a little bit as per the DG's guidance in terms of what is it that which we put in before we get a municipality to be accredited. There's a criteria which has been set by the national department because that's the legislative responsibility that has been given to the minister to set the criteria for municipality to be accredited, So there's a broad criteria that we have developed in line with local government performance indicators. One of the criteria that we have put in place, or one of the variables, is the whole issue around the AG's outcome report. We certainly look at what the AG says about a particular municipality. We also look at the issues of capacity. Capacity will look at the amount of vacancies that the municipality will be having in key positions. We'll also look at the issues of performance in terms of the grant that the municipality might be mandated by the Systems Act to implement. We also look at the issues around the capacity around the systems that the municipality might be having to avoid a situation that you have precisely highlighted, Chairperson, in your prelude around making sure that we are preventative in our approach, that we don't saturate a municipality that's struggling with additional responsibilities, something that which the minister has also highlighted. So we also look at the issue around the human settlements capacity. That the municipality has the human settlement capacity. Within that capacity, we look at the technical capacity that the municipality will be having. Do they have enough engineers? Do they have project managers and town planners? We also look at whether they have administrative systems in place that will allow the function once they receive it, so that you don't then create blockages at the level of delivery. Those are some of the issues that which we do. So once the municipality makes an application, we have assembled an independent panel. These are experts that deal with local government, experts in terms of infrastructure development, experts in terms of your beneficiary project management, are the ones that will then go and assess the municipality, on the basis of which they will then give us an opinion or recommendation whether the municipality does have the capacity or does meet the standards that have been set by the minister. On the basis of that, then we'll then prepare that report, which will then be presented to the MEC via the minister. The MEC then is expected to solicit concurrence from both the national as well as provincial COCTA, as well as both national and provincial treasury, for their concurrence, that in terms of their systems and in terms of their own oversight roles that they play in the municipalities, are they satisfied with what the panel is actually recommending? On the basis of that, if everybody agrees, then we then accredit the municipality. To formalize that accreditation with the municipality, an implementation protocol must be signed between the province and the municipality, which will then dictate the funding to the municipality, something that which you explained quite clear, Chair. It will also explain what some of the responsibilities which will be going to the municipality, but also explain what are the performance indicators through which the municipality performance will then be monitored on. So essentially, that's what it's about, and that's what DG has actually indicated I should perhaps start with. Chair, this is the institutional arrangement that which we have, that we use in terms of the implementation of the project. The block in yellow present a status where municipality is non-accredited. The municipality has minimal role in terms of human settlement or housing development. The province play an active role in terms of taking the responsibility of housing development within the jurisdictional area of that municipality. Moving into the blue, it's when the municipality is accredited at level 1. When a municipality is accredited at level 1, it means that it's given the responsibility to do beneficiary administration. The role of the municipality there, it's then limited to beneficiary administration in support of the province, because the province would have delegated that function to the municipality. The responsibility of program and project management still lies heavily with the province, but it's also an opportunity for province to be able to handhold and capacitate the municipality for it to be able to graduate to the next level, which is level 2. Once the municipality is accredited at level 2, Chair, it means that the municipality has the capacity that which you have been speaking about, and that we're satisfied that the municipality can be able to implement the projects. However, it's so important to mention the fact that accreditation is a capacitation program. So it's not an end, it's not the means to an end, it's not an end in itself, but a means to an end. So capacitation is continual. You don't stop capacitation of the municipality because of the dynamic environment in which they operate within. You will go to a municipality today, you find that it ticks all the boxes in terms of capacity. You go to the same municipality 6 months down the line, it might have regressed. So capacity is something that which you constantly, once you are locked into that municipality, you constantly have to bear that in mind. So once the municipality is at level 2, it can be able to do program as I've highlighted. Chairperson, it's important for us before we dive into the performance of the program per province to understand what some of the roles and responsibilities. Our responsibility as the National Department, guided by the Housing Act and other pieces of legislation and policies, amounts to the facilitation of the strategic and policy direction of the program, which we have provided through the establishment of this framework that we're talking about, is to monitor alignment of the provincial multi-year human settlement program annual performance plans, as well as human settlements sector plans of the municipality, is to ensure that the vision of the National Department or the MTDP targets are met, and that every planning instrument that is used at the provincial level to the municipal level talks to each other. So that we ensure that there's coordinated development. But it's also, Chair, to ensure that we run the credibility of the National Needs Register, but also to develop, as part of our responsibility or intervention, is to develop templates and guidelines and workshop municipalities, something that we constantly are doing all over the country. Every single week, every single month, we are all over the country doing the workshops to the municipalities and the provinces. We also support the implementation of the program, as I've already said. We identify challenges and intervene within the ambit of what our mandates are. We also monitor issues around budgets, gazetting, and ensure that remedial actions for non-compliance are actually instituted. We also, I think this one I've already highlighted in terms of the alignment issue. What are some of the responsibilities of the municipalities and as well as the province? The provincial spheres must ensure that there's planning and alignment between itself and different municipalities at the district level, at the metro level, or at the secondary city level. But it's also to mobilize support for the program, by mobilizing housing finance, ensuring that there's grants that flow to the municipality once either the municipality is accredited at level 1 or level 2, but also to facilitate and ensure that the systems, the administrative systems that you spoke about, are actually given to the municipality, and the municipality is well capacitated to be able to absorb those systems, and also to ensure that there's performance monitoring. Because the province, the power that we are talking about, the function that we are talking about is a legislative mandate of the province. The municipality receive it from the province on the delegated, in the context of delegation. So the responsibility still lies with the province. So they must ensure that there's performance and ensure that the power that which, or the function that which has been delegated to a municipality, the municipality is responsible enough and is accountable, Chair, and to come up with interventions where there are problems, and to ensure that there's reporting compliance by municipalities. It is the municipality role to ensure that it does perform on the function and it does contribute towards accelerated service delivery, and that it does take care of its own housing demands within its jurisdictional area. And it must also ensure that it reports to the province and that it actually take good responsibility of the function that's given to it. Chair, these are just the functions that I've already highlighted to previous. Let me not stay on this slide. I've already explained what does a municipality mean when it's actually accredited at level 1 or level 2. This is just to break down the level of the value chain involved in the delegation of the function, which largely talks to the slides that I've already spoken to in terms of responsibilities. We can move. Chair, the status of the implementation protocol, I think I've highlighted the fact that we formalize the relationship between this delegation, between the municipality and the province through the implementation protocol. This is legislated in terms of the IGR Framework Act, that in place where there's a function shift between the municipality or any sphere of government to another, it must be regulated or formalized through the implementation protocol. Chairperson, you will remember that when we started before this revised accreditation framework, we started on a very, very tough platform where there was no IPs which were signed in some provinces and municipalities. There was no funding which was coming from provincial sphere to the municipalities which were accredited. There was no gazetting. There were no governance structures that which were put in place. So we came here from that platform. Today, Chairperson, since the approval of the revised accreditation framework, we've been able to turn around the corner. As you can see there, that in 2023, you had 26% of the implementation protocols which were never signed. So a municipality is accredited, but that relationship between the province and the municipality was never formalized. We had 40% or only 40% of active implementation protocols, and we also had about 34% of protocols that were expired. Today, Chairperson, we are recording that the tide has turned. We are now sitting at 71% of active implementation protocols. We still have a little bit of, or we still have a problem of 26% where the implementation protocols that have been expired have never been renewed. But we'll then detail some of the reasons and some of the challenges as they relate to that. We have 3%, which is a representation of one municipality that has withdrawn from the program. We'll explain it later when we delve into a program per province. Can we move? Chair, these are the municipalities that have been accredited. This slide shows which municipalities are accredited. Before the withdrawal of one municipality, we were sitting at 35 municipalities. We now are sitting at 34. This slide shows the level of accreditation and where are the expired implementation protocol sitting, which provinces have a larger portion of those expired protocols come from Gauteng, with one in Free State, Chairperson, and as well as a majority or all the municipalities in Mpumalanga. We'll then explain the reason why some of these municipalities have not been able, or with provinces have not been able to turn around the corner. Thank you, Chair. Next slide. Chairperson, I've alluded to the fact that when we started the program, we had experienced challenges where there was no funding to some of the municipalities. We are now sitting at the level where there's some major movement, Chairperson, in terms of the allocation to the municipalities. Remember, one of the basic principles that drives the program is that funding follows function. As you delegate the function to the municipality, you need to ensure that you fund for it, because otherwise, if the municipality will take on the function without funding from the provincial sphere, it becomes an unfunded mandate. We can report, Chairperson, as you can see the slide there, there's improvement in terms of the operational funding. Operational funding, this is the funding that which gets given to the municipality for it to be able to implement or take on the function, because they don't get from the equity share. Municipalities don't get the money to be able to implement housing programs. So we can see a major improvement there. There's in Eastern Cape, there's about 17 million, which has been allocated to those two metros. We see in Free State, there's about 1 million that has been allocated to the only one municipality, which is Mangaung, and we know what the serious challenges in Mangaung are. In Gauteng, there's still 0-0. We are battling. We'll then be able to detail at a later stage as to what is it that we have done and what is it that we are doing. In KZN, it takes the larger share of the allocation. They are allocating the HSDG as well as I-sub-G to the secondary cities as well as eThekwini. Although eThekwini receives its own I-sub-G, but they add some money to assist the metro to deal with the issue around informal settlements. In Limpopo, we have allocation there that has been given to Polokwane municipality. or to implement the projects. That's about 75 M, as well as the amount to support such implementation for the for the municipality to be able to get technical capacity and all the other requirements that are needed. In Mpumalanga, we still are experiencing challenges there. In Northern Cape, it's about $1 million, which is not actually that enough that goes to all the municipalities that have been accredited. In Northwest, there's major improvement. As you can see there, there's allocation of about 81 million that goes to Rustenburg for implementation of project, coupled by about 6 million for operations that will assist the municipality in terms of assembling capacity. I've already alluded to that. And then this Western Cape, there's about 280 M that has been given to the city of Cape Town to implement projects, coupled by the operational funding there. So from where we basically we did not have some funding to some province to where we are, I think there's some major progress that we're seeing. Can we move to the next slide? Chairperson, we appeared before you in June 2025, and the picture on the left, or the column on the left, represent what we presented then. But we also wanted to show where are we in terms of the progress in Eastern Cape. You will see in Eastern Cape, in terms of the implementation protocols, we are saying that at the time when we came in here, there were implementation protocols that were signed between the province and the two metros. However, we had identified certain gaps. We are still battling at this present moment to get the gaps to be addressed. I'm glad to announce to the committee that as we speak, next week, me and my team are going to Eastern Cape to precisely deal with this particular matter. So there's that intention for the province to deal with this matter in order to close some of the gaps. Perhaps maybe to highlight to the committee what some of the gaps are. Some of the gaps, you find that the implementation protocol does not give financial certainty in terms of the MTSF period. You need to be able to give financial certainty to the municipality to allow them to plan ahead and know what is it that is going to come. Although we say this cautious of the fact that budgetary cuts are something that which we have to deal with. So that's why we then move for the fact that the implementation protocol must also be a live document that can be improved at any given time, depending on the circumstances that the municipality and the provinces might face. You can look at the budgetary allocation there. Okay. In Free State, Chairperson, you can see the red there. The red there means the implementation protocol between the province and the municipality has not been signed. We know the status of the municipality there. The province is trying all its power to get the municipality in order. As we speak, I think about last month or so, there is a non-compliance letter which was written to the municipality by the province to try and get the municipality to get its house in order. We also talked to the IGR structures there. That they are in place, but at the level of the municipality, they are falling behind. The non-compliance that I'm talking about also talks to the issue that the municipality must get its housing in order in terms of initiating the governance structures in terms of the function that has been given to them. We see that under beneficiary management, Chair, the NHNR as well as the HSS have been installed, and the province has actually given the municipality some training. The province does report to the national department the risk capacity within the province, and that the province is able to give some level of capacity to the municipality. That's why you have a green there. Let's move to the next slide. Chairperson, in Gauteng, there hasn't been movement as I've recorded in the slide around implementation protocols as well as the budget allocation. There hasn't been movement, but we also, Chairperson, as you all know, the biggest question that is being raised by the province there is the state of the metros. There's been issues around instability in some metros, as well as the AG's report on all the metros hasn't been one that is actually conducive enough for the province to be comfortable enough that they can begin to allocate some funding. However, the responsibility of capacitation still remains with the province. We have engaged with the province on various occasions. We'll also written letters to the province to say they need to be able to fast track the signing of the IPs and be able to come up with some capacity development or intervention measures at the level of the metro. We have also given the province some non-compliance letters in relation to this matter. In KZN, it's one of our shining beacons in terms of the implementation of the program. Chair, you can see that most of the issues, budget allocation, IP reviews do take place. They have governance structures in place, although some of the governance structure still needs to be strengthened a bit. That's why they have a yellow there. But in terms of the budget allocation, beneficiary management, almost everything is working well, besides the fact that in eThekwini, there's been some delay in terms of the implementation of the NHNR. However, there's some intervention that we've taken, both us and the province. For an example, we have taken the province, the metro municipality to go and learn from Buffalo City, as is one of the best municipalities that implement the HNR. And they are now wrapping their head in getting the issue of NHNR implemented. The monitoring, I think, is going well there, and the stability in terms of a capacity from the provincial point of view. The province is more focused on giving support to the municipalities. In Limpopo, Chair, we have Pulukwane. We come from a level where there was no funding at all on the municipality. You remember, Chair, the municipality was accredited in about 2014, and for a period close to a decade, there was never a movement. But since the approval of the revised accreditation framework, it had seen the implementation protocol being signed between the province and the municipality, as well as the other municipalities that are accredited at level 1. The province has allocated money for the implementation of project in Polokwane as a level 2 municipality. However, we are still battling, and we are getting there in terms of getting the province to also look at providing some allocation to the municipalities in order for them to be able to take on their level 1 functions. Chair, I think we have written some non-compliant letters to the province. We also are dealing with them so that they can be able to look at tightening the IP, because there's some parts of the IPs that we are not happy about when we do an analysis. Chair, let's move to the other one. Next slide. In Mpumalanga, in Mpumalanga, Chairperson, as it has been depicted through the non-movement on IPs, there's generally a problem with capacity in Mpumalanga. That there hasn't been any movement. We have engaged them on numerous occasions. We even went there as a national department to do workshops to the entire management of the province. Just when we thought that there was going to be a traction, there's been some movement at the administrative level. We'll have to restart the process of going to workshop again, and we're hoping that we'll be able to find some traction. There's letters and non-compliance letters that we've sent through to the province so that we can be able to get some traction. The next slide. In Northern Cape, Chair, all the IPs have been signed. The biggest problem there is the issue around the funding, where the province in itself always complain in many various platforms where we do performance management. The province will always complain about the allocation to the province. that they receive not so much of the HSDG or the funding from us as a national department. They therefore cannot be able to give the very little that they get and share it with municipality. However, they are trying, Chair. They have allocated about $1 million, which is not enough. And that is the basis on which David Kraper then decided to withdraw, because they felt that the amount that they were given does not amount to the level of responsibility that they are given. So they then decided to withdraw, because the municipality simply said they will not be able to afford to subsidize on a housing function that does not belong to them. So that's essentially the issue. However, the beneficiary management in terms of the IGR structures, the province is actually on the upward movement. There are some gaps here and there, and we are getting into a space where we're trying to fix them with the provincial sphere. In Northwest, there's major movements as far as Northwest is concerned. The IP has been signed between the municipality, Rustenburg, and the province. However, there's some gaps that we have identified. We are presently working around those gaps, and the province shows it's open to actually dealing with those gaps. So we are trying to close those gaps with the province right now. We have written to them. We've done some workshop between them and the municipality. There seems to be a common understanding as to what must go into the IP. There's also the budget allocation in terms of Rustenburg, as well as JB Marks in terms of their function. The IG structures have just recently been formalized and established. We are watching close in terms of supporting the province to be able to implement and get these structures functional. Beneficiary management, there's some good progress that is happening. In Western Cape, Chairperson, the IP over the years has always been signed between the province and the municipality. However, there are gaps that which we have identified, and we have written to the HOD to say they must begin to close on some of those gaps so that it can give a municipality certainty, as well as issues around performance monitoring of the municipality. One of the issues that we have a gripe on with this province is that they don't involve us when they meet with the municipality. It's very crucial that they need to be able to involve us so that we can be able to close the gap and be able to provide policy guidance, because there's some other mistakes that they tend to commit because of our absence, that if we were involved when they meet some of these municipalities, some of those mistakes would have been avoided. Other than that, everything is hunky-dory there. It's only those two issues that we have raised that the municipality and the province needs to work on. There are cross-cutting challenges and key considerations, Chairperson. The issue of unsigned IPs, I think members have already begun to raise the issue around IPs. We engage with the provinces, we try and support them in terms of providing the IP templates, giving workshops in terms of those IPs, even sitting and mediate where there are issues that needs to be resolved between the municipality and the province. There's still a lack of coordinated structures in some provinces. We're saying the provinces that are lagging behind should be able to fast track the resuscitation of the IGR governing structures so that we can be able to also get other sector departments and stakeholders involved into the program. There's a lack of dedicated capacity in some provinces. Some provinces, Chair, do not have capacity that is dedicated in terms of implementing the program itself. For an example, Gauteng does not have a dedicated capacity. This added responsibility has just been given to a regional program manager as an added responsibility. So the program will suffer a little bit in terms of focus. And when you then confront provinces on this issue, they will tell you about the budgets, etc. However, we try and intervene where we can in terms of the limited resources that we have as well. Failure to include accreditation funding in some provinces is still an issue. We are watching that space closely in terms of ensuring that there's funding that goes to the municipality. We do the business planning analysis. We check the gazetting if they've gazetted. We have also come up with the business plan annexure that deals with the accreditation matters, which we then monitor the province on. And we do sit with the provinces, and there's major improvement in terms of that intervention that we have put in place. Poor monitoring support. We are saying the provincial space must be able to monitor municipalities and support municipalities. Where they are not, we are able to talk to them and intervene and capacitate them. Non-compliance will continue, Chairperson, to factor in consequence management and remedial actions to improve compliance as well as the general implementation of the program. Sorry, my voice is going a little somehow. There's also an issue that we assist the municipalities around in terms of the planning instruments that they should have. Most of the municipalities will have or fail to revise some of these documents. We're able to come in together with the province and assist the municipalities. That sums up our presentation for today, Chair. Thank you very much for your indulgence. The recommendation is to ensure that the portfolio committee take notes of the progress made regarding the implementation of the program. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think that was highly informative. I'm not sure whether DG wants to add something. Okay. Seems the DG is fine. Honorable members, there is a presentation. Can we engage with it? In the form of questions or Honorable Gamede, followed by Honorable Maseko, followed by Honorable Abada. In that order, Honorable Gamede.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I won't be long. Thanks for the presentation on the accreditation of municipalities. The headline trend, Chairperson, looking at slide 12, implementation protocols falling from 75 active or expired in 2023 to a combined 34 active or expired by 2026. It reads as improvement only if withdrawals and non-renewals are ignored. Slide 13 shows multiple metros, the likes of Johannesburg, Tshwane, Ekurhuleni, and Mangaung municipality, still expired, and one district, Chairperson, which is David Kruger, has withdrawn from the program entirely. My question, Chairperson, will go to slide 14, where Gauteng and Mpumalanga show zero rand in both capital and operational accreditation funding for 26-2027. With Gauteng citing this as the cause of continued IP delays, even after completing its capacity gap analysis, on slide 17. If the national department's role includes monitoring budget, gazetting, and targeting and taking remedial actions for non-compliance, looking at slide 8, what remedial action specifically has been taken against provinces that have now gone multiple financial years without budgeting for accreditations at all? Chairperson, I think looking at slide 24, rather than accepting the generic recommendation to simply note progress on looking at slide 25, the committee should require province by province corrective timeframes for the 2 provinces with zero accreditation funding, and for the metros with expired IPs exceeding 2 years, given that the department's own key considerations, column slide 24, restates the same unresolved challenges as in the prior appearance. Chairperson, thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Maseko.
Thank you very much, Chair, and then thank you for the department for the presentation. And I think I must just put a little bit of a disclaimer if I ask a question that the committee members already they've got they got the information before. I want to find out because of one of the key processes that the departments were using, and mostly in the provinces, it was the having the metrics when they get to implement a project for the housing. Now, if there is an accreditation, and the metrics was one of the things, maybe it was the bulk services, to look at the bulk services and all that, and you can see if a municipality is ready. Now, if you give the accreditation and then you get the budget as a national department and saying that that is going to help also, and I'm making an assumption that it will help also in reducing the backlog of the housing. How do you plan for the following financial year if you don't know that or if you don't have the control of the provinces being able to can implement the projects where you have given the accreditation? In the simpler terms, I'm trying to find out safeguarding metrics from the national. How do you make sure that that is something that you build up for the provinces or the municipalities in making sure that they implement the projects, that you don't lose the focus on the dealing with the backlog of the housing and focusing not focusing only on the issue of the accreditation. The other one, it will be the, I'm sorry about that. The other one, I saw you have the Buffalo City municipality that has also been okay with the accreditation. And I'm asking myself that now the organograms of those municipalities, do they change? And then when they change, when you talk about their capacity, what is the meaning of the capacity to them? And you indicated that it's ongoing, and given it's ongoing, but for implementation and having the intention that that has to add value, when you interpret the capacity, what do you mean? Buffalo City has received the money, I think, from the Department of Land Reform to implement a housing project years ago for West Bank. They haven't been able to can do that. Accreditation is there. So they are, it can end up being the silo operations within the government that you can say that I did my part in making sure the accreditation is there. The province also will say that I did my part in capacitating, as you would interpret it. But implementation and monitoring, who is going to be held accountable by this portfolio committee when coming to dealing with the backlog of the housing? That is one of the concerns, that the implementation and the do's and don'ts should be clear for us as we do the oversight, also to can know whom has to be held accountable when coming to seeing if this accreditation is going to add value or is not going to add value. I think from my side, that, Chair, is all from me.
Thank you. Lastly, for this round, Honorable Abada.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. I'm partially covered with my questions, so I won't go to questions. I've just got comments and take it from there. This program exposes a disturbing gap between accreditation on paper and delivery in reality. Government cannot proudly announce that municipalities are accredited while implementation protocols are expired or unsigned. Funding is absent, structures are dysfunctional, and reporting requirements are ignored. Accreditation without the resources and authority to perform the function is nothing more than administrative window dressing, while communities continue waiting for decent housing. The repeated language of support, engagement, guidance, and letters to the HOD is no longer an acceptable response to persistent failure. Gauteng, for example, has no signed IPs, with its 3 metros, no accreditation funding, no established accreditation steering committees, and is non-compliant with monitoring and reporting. Yet the remedial action is again engagements and letters. This suggests a system where failure attracts correspondence instead of consequences. The greatest failure is that government appears to be measuring the machinery of accreditation rather than its impact on ordinary people. Communities do not live in implementation protocols, steering committees, or business plans. They need houses, serviced sites, and upgraded informal settlements. Unless accreditation demonstrably accelerates delivery, reduces blockages, and improves accountability, this program risks becoming another bureaucratic process that consumes public resources without restoring dignity and humanity to the people it was supposed to serve. And Chair, we come back to the dignity and the humanity of our people. And without the dignity and humanity of our people, our job here is not being fulfilled. And we strive to bring humanity and dignity to our people. And I've always said that without a home, we are nothing. Our home is the one thing that is our safe haven. When we go back to our homes, that is what takes away most of our problems, because we have that. So through you, Chair, we require a binding, this is my recommendations to the department. We require a binding corrective action plan, province by province and municipality by municipality, identifying every expired or unsigned IP, outstanding addendum, funding shortfall, reporting failure and capacity deficiency, together with the responsible official corrective action and firm deadline. No more vague commitments to engage or follow up. There must be immediate consequent management for compliance. Provincial HODs and responsible officials who repeatedly fail to conclude protocols, allocate or transfer funding, monitor performance, or comply with reporting requirements must be required to account before the committee. Where accredited municipalities themselves fail the required standards, the department should enforce the framework, including the progressive rescinding or revocation of accreditation where warranted, rather than allowing dysfunctional accreditation to continue indefinitely. And lastly, accreditation must be tied directly to the measurable housing delivery outcomes. The department should report quarterly, not merely on signed protocols and functioning committees, but on projects implemented, serviced, sites delivered, informal settlements upgraded, beneficiaries assisted, expenditure against allocation, delays resolved, and actual improvements in delivery and attributable to accreditation. Parliament must be able to determine whether transferring these responsibilities is genuinely improving people's lives, because if accreditation does not translate into faster delivery, accountability, dignity, and humanity, then government must explain why the program should continue in its present form. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Because Honorable Abada didn't ask questions, let me take Honorable Khakilwe. I think you will be the last in this round so that we give to the department to answer questions. Honorable Khakilwe.
Thank you, Chairperson, and let me welcome the presentation. And most of my questions were answered. However, the withdrawal of one municipality, I asked what was the reason and what is the department doing to bring it back. And then for Northwest, from the presentation, it has made good progress on accreditation and governance structures, but needs to close the remaining gaps in the IP addendums, update municipal planning documents, and align the accreditation annexure with the HSDG business plan, and address the ICM capacitation It seems Northwest was not funded. I'm not sure if it's the only province which was not funded for this ICM capacitation. And what is the department doing about this? Chairperson, I also asked, what is the impact of the 9 aligned annexure with the HSDG business plan? And what is the department doing about this outstanding thing? Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. DG and your team.
Thank you very much. Just to indicate that the context of the accreditation framework must be understood. The functions really in terms of the law belong to provinces in terms of the Housing Act. And it is the provinces that approach us to say they want to expand their own capacity and they believe that some of their own municipalities are in a better position to be able to implement what they are required to implement by law. And we only accredit municipalities on that basis. It is not a forced process. It is not a compulsory process for all of those to participate in. It is purely based on the request of the province and the ability of that municipality when we assess it that it is actually able. And therefore, the municipality is free to withdraw if it doesn't want to deliver services on behalf of the province. And it remains the responsibility of the province to deliver services on its own in terms of its obligations provided at law. So given those circumstances, I just wish to indicate that the municipality that has withdrawn, we can persuade it, we can persuade others. We do persuade, and ideally, it is good for the country to have tremendous capacity across the board. But we know the challenges facing municipalities, and where municipalities have a degree of capacity to be able to support the province in their own jurisdictions, we encourage that to happen. And hence our training, our regular assessments, and the support we provide. And therefore, I will, on that note, Chair, with that context, ask DDG, Dumalisile, and Mialani to respond to some of the questions raised. Thanks.
DDG.
Thank you, Chairperson. Let me see if I can switch on my camera. Yep, there I am, Chair. Chair, in response to the questions, I'll switch it off. I think the DG has actually covered me on quite a number of issues where I wanted to provide clarity in as far as the purpose of this program is concerned. I will just add a few issues just to give members assurance. In instances where there are no active implementation protocols between the municipalities and the provinces, that the absence of those has no negative impact when it comes to the delivery of houses. And I think this is what the members were actually raising as a serious concern. Why? Because of exactly what the DG said. The responsibility remains that of the province to provide that kind of a function. So where there are no IPs, the province continues to actually deliver. Let me cite quick examples. You look at Free State, and you look at the Mangaung IP, which has expired, and obviously they are attending to it now. But in the meantime, the province is continuing to deliver houses within the Mangaung metro space. Similarly with Polokwane, they had an IP at level 1 for the longest time, but that did not mean no houses were delivered around the Polokwane municipalities. And that goes for the 3 metros in Gauteng as well. The Gauteng Human Settlements continues to deliver the houses, as the DG indicated that function remains with the provinces. Chair, on the issues that were raised by Honorable Gamede, yes, we note the recommendation in as far as the corrective timeframes are concerned in instances where the IPs, the allocation of the funding, as well as your IGR structures are not in existence. We will attend to that and we will request for those corrective timelines. Chair, I think there is a common question that has been raised by members, DG touched on it, which relates to David Graeber. And indeed, the DG indicated that it's the municipality that voluntarily withdrew from the participation in as far as the accreditation is concerned. This municipality in the Northern Cape was actually accredited at level 2, which was responsible for the implementation of the housing programs. However, due to the current arrangement that members are familiar with in as far as the Northern Cape is concerned on the HSDG, they have actually, this function on the delivery has actually been centralized, and to that effect, it actually limited the funding that could be transferred to that municipality to continue to provide that particular role. And that arrangement is for a period of 3 years. Whether they will review it after the 3-year program that would have been concluded by the provincial department in the Northern Cape, that remains to be seen, Chair. Chair, I do want to indicate, and I think it was raised by Honorable Kehakilo right at the beginning, the observations where there are improvements. And quite a number of issues that we have captured on the presentation, which we shared with the members even previously when we met, I think it was in June last year. There were serious challenges with the previous framework, and the DG from time to time when we attended the portfolio committee meetings, he kept on indicating that the review process has actually taken place. It was purely to close some of those gaps because a lot of municipalities, they were accredited, but for the longest time they remained inactive in as far as their responsibilities are concerned. And that's the reason why, Honorable Abada, we will continue to provide guidance and will continue to provide support to the extent that municipalities are able to deliver on their own. The current arrangement in local government, which we begin to see in most of the metros, is such that the coalitions are creating a lot of instability. And with that instability comes the challenge of the compliance and meeting the necessary criteria for a municipality to remain at the status of accreditation. Mielani, when he presented right at the beginning, he did outline the criteria where we also look at the outcome of the audit. We also look at the governance functionality in as far as municipalities concerned, the financial viability, their ability to deliver on the ground. Those are some of the elements that we look at for them to be accredited. It's the province that accredits with the concurrence of the minister at a national level. Now, in the absence of those issues, that becomes a challenge, and that's why you see quite a number of them now still grappling. But yes, we are working with those municipalities, particularly Gauteng province as well as Mpumalanga, to make sure that they go back and they are able to accredit. One other challenge that continues to exist, and Melanie did raise it, is that both at municipal level as well as provincial level, you do find that people who were appointed specifically for this program have since left, or they have been moved to other areas, or the department itself has reconfigured, and now there is no one, a dedicated person who is assigned to run with this program. And in the absence of anyone who is fully implementing this, it will collapse, whether at a municipal level or at a provincial level. The provinces continue for level 1, they continue to fund the municipalities so that they can continue to capacitate themselves with our support and be able to function. But if there is no one who is fully dedicated to run with the program, then it makes it difficult for them to continue to fund the municipality. Otherwise, then that funding will actually be utilized for something else. Now, coming to the issue that was raised by Honorable Maseko, Memaseko, when you look at the issue of the forward planning, and I think Honorable Maseko is referring to the readiness matrix. She kept on talking about the matrix and whether the municipality is ready to deliver and everything. When we request provinces to prepare business plans, their business plans are 3-year business plans. And the municipalities that are actually performing the function of human settlements, where they are accredited at level 2, they are also expected to develop a multi-year human settlement strategic plan. Those ones are 5 years. It then gets to show you what will be happening in the municipality for the next 5 years. With the business plans, it gets to show you what has been planned and what has been allocated financially for those municipalities. Now, they would then, with the arrangement with that municipality, discuss and agree. These are the projects that you, City of Cape Town, will be delivering on behalf of the province on the basis of your level 2 accreditation. When they gazette the funds that needs to be transferred, they will gazette that money as well. And that's why you will see that happening. However, what happened with BCM? BCM for the longest time was accredited level 1. It was not accredited level 2. They were awarded the status of level 2 in 2024, round about May in 2024. But in the meantime, they were actually working with the province as an implementing agent. It was as and when. As to what happened with the allocation that they received from the rural development with regards to the houses around the West Bank area, we'll try and find that out. But at that time, if it was before the level 2 accreditation, that would have been something else. But they are currently working with the province, and they are implementing, and they are getting their allocation from the province. Chair, I think I've responded to Honorable Kehakilwe's David Kraper, which was also asked by Honorable Gamede. We have covered that. We take note of the comments that are made and proposals that are made by Honorable Abada, and I will request Mielani to actually give a detailed response in as far as the non-alignment of annexures to the HSS, so that at least members can have a better understanding. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, DDG. Mielani.
Thank you very much, Chair. The non-alignment talks to the business plan. We have issued an instruction number 2 of 2024 with regards to the conditions that we're setting out for the transfer to other state organs. One of the requirements that we have set up, or one of the conditions, is that any allocation must be in the business plan. And what you put in a business plan must also be reflected from the municipal housing sector plan, so that the aspirations of the municipality that comes from IDP can be taken care of through the provincial business plan, and can therefore be also be encapsulated in terms of the annual performance plans of the provinces. That's what we're talking to. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think that was a briefing. This briefing then enables us, honorable members, as a portfolio committee, to make those municipalities that are accredited, especially at level 2, at some stage, together with their provinces, to come and account in the money allocated. But we'll be assisted by our offices just to make sure that we are on par. Even the department will be able to assist us, so that at some stage they are able to come and account for the money that is given to them to build houses. And because we are from provinces, we are from provinces as members of the portfolio, we are also from municipalities, we'll be able to know whether there's work happening on the ground or not. But we want to thank the department for briefing us. It's an important information, so that even when we are at home doing our oversight, we're able to know what is happening. Just the last question from me, DG, DDG, or Mr. Mialani. In the main, what's the difference between level 1 and level 2? Do we have any other level above 2? Because I see even metros are at level 2.
Chair, thank you very much. There's a slide that we share. My apology that I didn't actually sit on it and expatiate on it. There is only 2 levels. There is level 1 accreditation, which is your entry point. When a municipality is accredited at level 1, it therefore is responsible for beneficiary administration. I think it's slide, go ahead. There's a slide, I think it will be slide 5 or 7 somewhere. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I think that's where the presentation began. Go ahead. Yeah, this is the one. Chair, no, you've gone. So this is what level 1 municipality function. This is the level. This is a function that which a level 1 municipality can be able to carry out. But in the main, at level 1, you basically deal with beneficiary administration. However, the function still remains the provincial one because it's a delegated function. It does not take away the responsibility from the province to take care of any accountability as far as what the municipality will be responsible for. The level 2, Chairperson, it's when the municipality, in addition to level 1, can be able to then take on the function of program and project management. However, Chair, because we had learned from the past that at some other stages, you might need to incrementally increase the level of responsibility, something that yourself and the minister highlighted in your preface or in your commentary, that we must ensure that we also come up with preventative measures, that we don't saturate the system of a municipality by adding more responsibility. There are instances when a municipality is accredited at level 2. However, it will not take the entire responsibility. Based on its capacity that it can gradually build over the years, it can then be able to take on 1 program or 2 projects as per the agreement between the province and the municipality, and can a municipality incrementally take on the responsibility, because the danger and the risk of then entirely giving the entire responsibility to the municipality is that while the municipality is also battling with its own mandatory or legislated responsibility, might cause some serious harm on the part of the municipality. So that's essentially that, Chair. There's no other level besides these 2 levels. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it is well understood, and we really want to thank you very much, the Minister, the Deputy, the DG, DDG, and Mr. Mialani for empowering us as a portfolio committee so that we are able to do our side work. I think DDG, I know you tried to answer it. Honorable Maseko said, for example, Buffalo City with other departments, they don't have capacity, but with human settlement, they seem to be having capacity. Is it because of how you measure them, or are you working in silos? I think that was the bone of contention. Can you just clarify it once more? Sorry for that.
No, thank you, Chairperson, and my apologies for not responding adequately to Honorable Maseko's question. Chair, when we assist the municipality and the province for the metro to actually come close or rather meet the requirements of accreditation, particularly at level 2. We appoint independent auditors, we appoint independent service providers to assess the capacity level at the municipality to be able to carry out this function, to also and the capacity we're looking at in-house people, Chair, who are dedicated to manage this program. Secondly, we also assess the ability of the province to be able to fund this particular metro to assist with the capacitation of the program. So because there is a settled intention on the side of human settlement sector to make sure that once a metro or a municipality is accredited, particularly at level 2, it does not fail. Probably that's the reason why, because then we make sure that they do have the necessary capacity. And in this case, they have been delivering because they have capacity, one, but secondly, because they have the governance structure in place between themselves, the metro. We are also part of that to monitor as to whether they are able to continue to deliver on that. Number 3, Chair, because we also monitor from our side as to whether they are still on track, and probably then when it comes to other departments, it may be that it's done differently. But I am aware that there's quite a number of national departments that are providing funding to metros, including the BCM, as to the support that they provide. That is something else. But where it is a conditional grant, Chairperson, those support and the expectations are clearly stipulated in as far as the DORA Act is concerned. Thank you, Chair. I see the Honorable Maseko wants to come back, Chair. I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, DDG. Honorable Maseko, quickly.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just a quick one. Like your BCM has received the accreditation, and as we speak now, it is under a Section 154 support. So in that case, after they've received the accreditation, what does the national and department do in support of whatever the project that it might be they have to implement at that point in time? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. DTG.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, your 154 support, at least it's a soft support as compared to your 139, which has no additional capacity from national or the takeover or the dissolution of the council. What the National Department of DCOG is currently doing, it's putting additional capacity to make sure that at least they assist the BCM to be able to deliver on its mandate. One, to be able to spend the allocated funding, either their equitable share as well as the revenue that they have generated, plus the conditional grants that they've received from all sectors, and be able to make sure that they carry out their mandate and they provide their basic services. So at this point in time, the 154 has no negative bearing in as far as the BCM being expected to carry out the function of delivering houses in their own space, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DDG. I think we're fine.
I'm sorry, Chair. I think maybe Medi didn't understand my question. I do understand it's a soft target, but when you gave the accreditation, at that point in time, they were not on that soft spot. They were capable. Everything was running smoothly. So I'm just making an example that if you have given the accreditation and you get a municipality that is not at the space where they can run themselves without having to have a support or on fixing governance or the financial management or any other thing, what measures are in place from the province and national as you give the accreditation do you do in making sure that you also give the support on a specific circumstances within the municipality, not per se being the BCM only, if that can happen in future for the other municipalities? Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, thank you. DDG?
I see the DG wants to come in. He's raised his hand.
DG? DG? Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think we hear what the honorable member says. The key distinguishing feature. Okay, first, let's accept that what she's raising has a lot of merit in terms of what she's raising. Indeed, when we do give a municipality, as Mielani has pointed out, and we do get to accredit, we consider all the circumstances the municipality in, and particularly its capacity at that given point in time. It does happen that when we do go back to do a review, we find that circumstances have changed. Typically, it is the nature of those circumstances that would make us make a determination whether if they were level 2, we downgrade them to level 1, or if they were level 1, we withdraw the accreditation completely, or even if they were level 2, but the situation is so dire that it may warrant that we withdraw completely accreditation. Those factors we consider carefully and put on the basis. What we understood about the intervention of COCTA when we did the assessment and review, and when COCTA also consulted with our department, was very clear that COCTA was saying, look, at this point, unsupported, they may not be able to deliver their services. So the hole that they were experiencing in terms of delivering has now been plugged by COCTA. Chances are that had COCTA not come in to provide the support, most likely would have reviewed the accreditation and withdrew it. But with COCTA playing that, we consider their own capacity plus COCTA's role as being able to meet with our obligations. And it's a matter that we'll continuously look at. Should we find that either at the withdrawal of COCTA's support that they are inadequate, or have the situation has deteriorated to the extent that even with COCTA's support, we consider that they are unable to deliver, we will accordingly review the status of the accreditation and determine otherwise. So I think that is what the honorable member was urging us to do, to say, at the point of accreditation, they may have been, but please do consider review of such a status should circumstances change. Like in this case, should it be acceptable that BCM on its own would not be able to deliver on that? But like I said, we think that gap with what COCTA has shown us, they have plugged in the capacity gap that we determine. Hence, DDG Dumalisile says, we do not at this stage deem that that intervention alone warrants that we actually do anything to the contrary than where we are. What we should do is to remain at heightened vigilance that things don't go further south. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think the member is now well clarified. You see, she's indicating that she's fine. Thanks very much, DG, DDG, and Mr. Mielani, and the rest of your team. We want to also to thank the Minister and Deputy Minister in their absence for the two presentations. Like I said, of course, we'll still be working with you as a department. It gives us an opportunity at some stage to call these municipalities, and whether they are metro or local municipalities, and come and say, please account for the money that you were given to build houses. How many houses have you built? What happened? And so on. And that will also be informed by our oversight as we move around as members of the portfolio committee. Whatever we observe will also assist that. So at some stage, we can expect that as a portfolio committee, we will invite you, DG, and your team, specific provinces and their municipalities, just for them to account on what they are doing. Thanks very much. I can release you, DG, and your team, because we're going into an item of minutes, which doesn't concern you. If you don't mind, you can leave, or you can remain. There's no problem. Thanks very much. Secretary, can we get into minutes? I see we have a number of sets of minutes that we need to deal with. The first set is the minutes of the 24th June 2026. Honorable members, there's the agenda. Let's scroll down. Attendance. Let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. Opening and welcome. Let's scroll down. Presentation. Let's scroll down. Operations. Let's scroll down. Recommendations, performance and statistics tracking. Let's scroll down. Committee was adjourned. Committee adjourned at 12:30. The minutes were sent to you in advance. The last set of minutes was sent to members yesterday. Are there amendments to the minutes, corrections, subtractions, additions? Nothing. Can I get a motion for the adoption of the minutes of the 24th June as a true reflection of what transpired at that meeting? Honorable Khekile.
Chairperson, I move for the adoption of these minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Magagula.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning. I second for the adoption.
Thank you very much. Minutes moved and seconded. Is there an alternative view? Nothing. Let's get to the second set of minutes of the 26th of June, 2026. It was a Zoom, it was a meeting on a Zoom platform. This was a meeting with the Mawiga petitioners. Let's scroll down. Pending and welcome, apologies. Adoption of the agenda, pending remarks. Briefing by the department. Key updates per petitioner. Input by the petitioners. Input by the department. Northwest, Gauteng, Tshwane. Meeting adjourned at 11 hours 32. Any amendment, additions, subtractions, corrections? I don't see any hand. Can I get a motion for the adoption of the minutes of the 26th as a true reflection of what transpired in that meeting? Can get a mover? Honorable Khakilwe again.
Chairperson, thank you. I move for the adoption of these minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Khakilwe. Can I get a seconder? Seconder?
Chairman, I was not there, but I can second the proposal.
No, Chair, only those who were in attendance can.
I see Honorable Makagula.
Thank you, Chairperson. I second the minutes of the 26th.
Okay. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Honorable Maseko, for your kindness. Any opposing view? Nothing. Can we get to the third set of minutes of the 5th of August? Is the agenda, attendance. Let's scroll down. Opening and welcome, apologies. Consideration and option of agenda, opening remarks, briefing. Deliberations, yes. Let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. The meeting adjourned 14 hours. Any amendment, correction? Welcome, Honorable Poole. I see you have joined the meeting. Thanks very much. Can I get a motion? Honorable Frenchman. Honorable Frenchman, are you still here? Oh. Honorable Abada is there?
I'm here,
Okay.
Chair. I move to adopt the minutes.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Where is the whip? Okay, Honorable Poole.
Second, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Poole. Any opposing view? Nothing. Minutes are adopted. Can we go to the fourth set of the minutes, 7th August? Thank you very much. It was a yes. Scroll down. Apologies, consideration of the agenda, opening remarks by chairperson, read by the petitioners, file central, deliberations, adjournment by 12:55. Any corrections? The chairperson was not part of this meeting. Any amendments, corrections? Nothing. Can I get a motion for the adoption?
I move to adopt the minutes, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Poole. Honorable Abada.
I second, Chair.
Thanks very much. The meeting started being chaotic, but we ended up being a fruitful meeting. Thanks very much. Let's have the last set of minutes, which is the meeting of the, I think it's last week's meeting.
Yes, Chair, 12.
The meeting of the 12th August. Agenda. Yes, scroll down. Apologies. Opening remarks. NHFC. HDA. NHBRC. Deliberations. Scroll down. Those are the meeting agenda at 15:10. Can I check whether there are corrections, amendments, additions, subtractions? Nothing. Can I get a mover for the adoption? Honorable Magagula.
Okay. I second.
Okay,
Move.
Honorable
I move.
Magagula is moving.
Oh,
moving.
I thought you said Honorable Gamete has moved. I move for the adoption of the minutes of
Okay,
the
thank
12th.
you. Honorable Kakilo.
I second the adoption of these minutes, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. An alternative view. Thanks very much. The minutes stand adopted. I think, Secretary, we understand why we have a backlog of minutes. It's because of time pressures. But moving forward, honorable members, we'll make sure that as per our agreement, we deal with the minutes in the following meeting. You'll remember that in these meetings, we had serious time pressures and we had to postpone the minutes. Also, Secretary, with your team, the researcher and the content advisor, if you can work on the tracking mechanism of our resolution. We said we can present once per quarter. So if we can work on for this term, so that in the next term, when we come back, we're able to resume the tracking, the progress on resolutions and what needs to be followed and so on and so on. Secretary, agreed?
Agreed, Chair.
Thanks very much. Honorable Maseko, let me just check one thing. Which province are you from?
Chairperson, I am from Western Cape.
Oh, Western Cape.
Yes.
We have Honorable Abada from Gauteng. We have Honorable Kakhaikilwe from Northwest. Honorable Ditebe from Free State. Honorable Frenchman from Western Cape. Honorable Poole, who's now the alternate from Western Cape. Honorable Dlamini from EFF, she's not in the meeting today, from Mpumalanga. And Honorable Magagula from Gauteng. Honorable Gamede from KZN. Honorable Siavi, the chairperson from Limpopo. We still have a vacancy for For IFP, they still have to send a person to the committee. We had a committee member who passed on. She was replaced. The replacement also passed on. So they're still working on their caucus to send to the portfolio committee. But you are heartily welcome once more. Secretary, anything before we
Hello,
call it
Chair.
a day? Yes.
We have two reports that we need to consider as well, Chair.
Today?
Yes. The one from Awika and the one that you attended with the researcher, Nelson Mandela, the launch of the Pan-African City Symposium.
Okay, sorry for that. There is the report for, unfortunately, only the chairperson and the secretary attended.
No, the researcher, Chair.
Oh, the researcher, yes.
Yes.
Yes. There is the report, honorable members, for noting. I know it was sent to us yesterday. Background, objectives, participation, session A, keynote address by the minister, address by the committee chairperson, launch ceremony, stakeholder engagement, key issues raised, challenges identified, observations, conclusion. Can I get one member moving? I know you were not there. That you have seen the report and you have considered the report so that we can send it to Parliament.
Chair, I move the noting of the report.
Honorable Kakakilwe, thank you, Honorable Abada.
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you very much. The last report on the Mawika. We know
Yes,
we have not concluded the issues, but remember this is a petition and we must report to Parliament, especially the Speaker, on progress made. It was sent to you. There is the executive summary. Let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. There's the background. The matter has been there since 2023. Purpose, the petitioners, meetings, committee deliberations, Mr. Mere, Mrs. Sipeng, Ms. Lidimwane, work undertaken, input to the committee, outstanding action, Northwest, housing, input by committee, outstanding action, National Department of Human Settlement, work undertaken, input by the committee, outstanding action, Gauteng, Human Settlement, input by the committee, outstanding action, Northwest, input, Outstanding action, Gauteng Department of Infrastructure. Outstanding action, Gauteng Department of Health. Outstanding actions. Let's scroll down. Overall outstanding matters. Committee observations. Scroll down. Scroll down. Report to be considered. This report will be sent to the Speaker for attention of Parliament. Can I get a mover for the consideration of the report? Like I said, we have not concluded everything, but we still have to make follow-ups. But we need to give progress to the Parliament. Honorable Kakakilwe.
Chairperson, I move for the adoption of this report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I get a seconder?
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Abada. Any alternative view? Nothing. The report is adopted to be sent to Parliament, but that does not mean we are no longer engaging with the outstanding issues. But Secretary, also, you need to check with your superiors, because nowadays we have a petitions committee, so that we know how do we relate to the petitions committee, especially with new petitions that will be coming. And you can advise us in the next meeting.
Noted, Chair, will do so.
Or you can write whatever response you get on the group, in the chat group. I mean, on the WhatsApp group, so that we don't duplicate the work of another committee. Yeah. What's the next
Noted, Chair.
item? Next item.
The next
Chairperson,
item, Chair, is closure.
Before we move to the next item, Chairperson, it's just a request through you to request the
Yes.
secretary to check how far is the issue ya messaging, and then maybe to request your intervention, because the HOD has tried, the MEC has written a letter to Moses Kotane to install electricity ko go Ntate Kgashwe. So that is the only outstanding thing. The issue of electricity, Ntate Kgashwe wa sokola. Maybe with your intervention, it can be assisted. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kakakilwe. I think we have also promised to write a letter to the minister regarding Mr. Kgashwe's affidavit, so that we'll hear from the minister how she responds on the issue of damages. Yeah, those are the issues outstanding. Issue of damages, electricity connection and water connection, Mr. Kgashwe. The issue of land, Sipeng, and then the issue of even the issue of Mr. Mary. Am I correct, Secretary?
Hello, Chair.
Mr.
Mary, correct.
Yeah. So if you can, through the DDG, Dumalisile, because we said she's the one who's coordinating at national departments level, just to give us a feedback on those and progress on those issues. Thank you, honorable members. Having said that,
Thank you, Chair.
Enjoy the rest of your day. The meeting stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Chair. Thank you, everybody. See you guys
Thank you.
later. Bye.
Thank you, Chairperson and everybody. Bye.